If you want to get forms on your WordPress website, the Ninja Forms plugin is a great plugin to use to get free and easy forms up on your website fast. Aloha everybody, I'm Chris Joels, and today I'm showing you how to stylize those forms with the free form builder using CSS. This should be a pretty simple and straightforward video. If you don't know any CSS, just follow along and replay some of those parts that are a little bit more complicated, but this should be pretty easy and you should be able to stylize your form and learn a little bit something about CSS. Let's get started.
So here we are at our example website, yourdivyawebsite.com, and our contact us page where I have a variety of forms here created with Ninja Forms. So I have your basic contact me form. That was the free version, and I have a free version styled, and that's what we're going to be working on today, okay? So this is the same plugin that I did in my previous video, the free version of Ninja Forms, utilizing CSS to style in it. Okay, you can buy a paid version of Ninja Forms to get a built-in visual builder, which is really nice and nice to have. But if you're just getting started and you're here to learn maybe a little bit about CSS, this is a great way to learn how to style your Ninja Forms. And I also want you to come here to ninjaforms.com so that you can come up here to get help and documentation. And if you come over here, you could click on styling your forms, and you could read more about styling your forms with CSS and Ninja Forms, okay? And read a little bit more about some of the settings you might have to enable and disable to provide a couple more functionalities to you. They come here and show you how to style your fields in a row, and then also how to style the rows of your fields so that they don't take up the whole 100% width. We're not gonna get into this today. Today we're gonna look at mostly just styling your forms, and what you can do is scroll all the way down here and find Custom CSS. And on this page, you could see the HTML markup of the form and the form fields that they use. And then in here, you could also see the ID fields that they use and the custom classes, okay? In here, you could toggle these open and they'll show you the CSS classes they use to style certain parts, elements of their field, of their form, okay? From the fields to the labels, and you could get all of that right here. And you could get each individual CSS field that you need. And they also show you how to do a couple other things like hide your required message and the asterisk and stuff like that, okay? But this is a great little page to look at and to know and to have around and have open while you are styling your forms. Okay, so for now, we're just gonna go ahead and close this. And so let's get started. And so what we are gonna do, you can see that this is the styled form right here. I wanna go ahead and show you how to make that, so we're gonna go and create a new one. Now, instead of starting to scratch, if you don't know how to create a basic form, you could click on the video I'm gonna link here. And otherwise, what we are gonna do is, instead of starting from scratch, we're gonna come over here and we are gonna duplicate this form. And you'll see that down here, it's giving us a copy. So we're gonna go ahead and click this guy open. And right away, what we want to do is change the name of this, all right? So we're gonna go to Advanced Display Settings, and instead of doing same copy, we are gonna call it.
Okay, so now that we have our form titled, what we wanna do is come down here and create a custom CSS class for the wrapper of our form. The wrapper is the container, the HTML container that contains the whole form, and we're gonna call that contact-styled. And we are gonna press done and then publish. After we've published it, we wanna preview our form, and if we scroll down here, we'll see our form. Now, in order to play around with CSS, what you wanna do is you wanna right click and come down to Inspect Element. This should work pretty similar whether you're on Safari or Google, or Chrome that is. And if we come over here and find our form by scrolling down, what you can do is just right click on the H2, the H3 here, and it should bring us to our form. So we can see our form right here. When we click on it, you can see the element is highlighted, and you could see that if we click it open here, we have our form. And so, and if we highlight on this line right here, we see the NF form container, CONT, and then we see our custom class that we created, contact-styled. The reason why we do this is because if we start changing these styles here for this form using just the NF form wrap provided by Ninja Forms, if we just use that class, then every form that we have on our website will start to take those same styles. Sometimes you have a contact form, sometimes you have a web email sign up form, and you have forms on your websites for different reasons, and you don't necessarily want them styled all the same. And that's why we create that custom class. We don't need this page, so I'm going to close this one. And here we are at our preview once again. So you see that we have our contact styled here selected. And what we could do is just press this little plus sign over here. And you'll see that if we just click in here and do something like background color, let's do that, and say red, you'll see the style starts to take effect. Okay, this is just a preview page, and these styles are just for demo purposes right now. They're not going to take effect. In order to get these styles into our WordPress website, we need to go back to our dashboard, select Appearance and Customize. Then we could come down here to Additional CSS, and we could paste our CSS right in here. And different themes also come in with additional places where you could put in your custom CSS, okay? This is available on most WordPress websites, and so this is one place you can do it. You could also put this CSS into your custom CSS file as well, which is probably the best way to do it. So what we want to do is come over here and change this to our contact styled class. Okay, now when you're writing CSS on the back end, you have to include this period and then these two brackets, okay, one to start and one to end. So we're going to publish this. Now obviously we're not going to style our form with the red background, but I want to show you that if we come back over here and refresh our page, that the styles have taken effect. These are now permanent on our website, and you can see our styles are down here. We're going to come back over here. We are going to go ahead and delete this just to show us that it worked. And we're going to come over here and refresh, and you'll see all our styles are gone. Our red style is gone. Okay, so with this guy selected, we're going to come over here and we're going to press plus. And what we want to do is go ahead and start using our custom class name. So contact-styled. Press tab. And you enter this little area in here. So I'm going to go ahead and paste in my styles that I have here from the side. And you can see how these styles have taken effect. And I'm going to go ahead and uncheck each box here and show you step by step what I'm doing so that you could copy and paste these styles but know what's going on. So the first thing I changed was the background color. And you could see that this wrapper that is selected in blue has a new background color. And you could copy these numbers right here. So the second one is the padding. The padding is the spacing around the form. And you can see I've added spacing around the form. These are numbers that I came up with. You could change these numbers as you see fit. Again, this is without the padding and this is with the padding. So it gives it some breathing room. Next, I'm going to give it this really subtle border. It's barely there, but it helps give it a slight border that we are going to combine with a drop shadow. So now here's our drop shadow that I want to add on here, and it's very subtle. Obviously you could change these values here. Here's the color of the shadow, and these are the values of the shadow that you could change to make it however you see fit. Next line is we have our font family. So I definitely didn't like these types of fonts, this serif font. You know, my website have sans serif fonts like this. Okay, so I kind of want all this stuff to match the rest of my website. So I want to come down here and I'm just going to select this one here, which says the font family, and it changes it basically to a sans serif font. Now obviously in here you could put in any font that you like to use to match your website. And then finally next is the color of the font. This changes the colors of these fonts right in here and in here as well. And you can see how already it's starting to shape out real nice. Okay, so we have our styles over here, and what we want to do to get these onto our website is drag from the very bottom all the way to the little period here. We're going to select copy. We're going to come over here to our CSS page and we're going to paste that, okay? So we're going to publish it. We're going to come over here to our preview and we're going to refresh it. And you'll see our styles have taken place and we could continue on with the rest of our styles. The next style I wanted to change was this up here. I think this title should be a little bit darker than the rest of this. So I'm going to select it and I'm going to say inspect element and it takes me straight to this H3. So what I want to do though is to use the class to style it. And if I come over here, I can do the same thing, press this plus button and it will give us a new place to put a style. Instead of calling this, what I'm going to do is I'm going to call this contact styled H3. And that's how you would target your H3 on this styled contact form. And what I want to do is add a color, and I copied and pasted my color from off screen. And this is the color I chose. Obviously you could choose any color you would like. This is the way I design things in the browser. Okay, I come in the browser, I see what it's going to look like live, and then I copy and paste my styles into here. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to give us a one line space, paste in our new style, we're going to publish it, come back to our preview page, and then we can refresh it, see that the styles have taken effect, and move on. The next thing I want to style is these form field labels. All right, so let's select that and inspect it. Now, obviously I don't have to inspect each element. I could always come down here and find it this way as well. I find that this is just a much faster way. If I'm on here, I will select my plus symbol over here. And what I want to call this now, instead of, for some reason when I press this plus button, it's identifying the ID. So this is the ID over here. You can see it says ID NF label field 55. And so if we come over here and inspect element and we come down here, we'll see it gives us the label for this element. And you could click up, you could slide up and down here and either select the whole field, the wrapper, or just the label. This class right here, NF field, is the wrapper for this whole container here. It includes your label, it includes the asterisk, it'll include this little help icon here, and anything associated with this entire label. And this is why we select a specific element and go to inspect element, because it will bring us all the way down in here to the fields that we want. All right. Okay, so we could come in here, we'll press our little plus button, and what I don't like about this is that it creates this down here. Okay, so we can see we have our field here, our class, and what we want to do is insert our custom contact styled class right in here. Okay, and then press space. And so I am going to paste in some styles here real quick, and there we go. Okay, and so what I wanted to do here is to make sure that all the labels receive this color and that all the labels have an uppercase. So you could change this to capitalize as well, and that has a nice effect to it. So same thing, we're going to start from the bottom here and select it all, copy it, come to our CSS and paste that right in there. Publish it, make sure that our styles took effect, and move on. All right, and as you can see here, our form is taking nice looking shape. So the next thing we want to do is stylize this button here. If we right click on this and inspect element, and so what you'll see here is that this has got a class, it's an element, the type is a button, and the value is submit. NF forms content, button, and you can see these different classes that they've used to contact it. It's highlighted right here. If we used all these CSS classes, it would style all the different types of buttons that come with these form builders. And we don't really want that. We just want it to target just this one form that we're using. So what we could do is we could come in here and copy this with those brackets and all, and place it right into there and enter our styles. Again, I'm just pasting these from off screen. And you'll see some of these styles have not taken effect like this one. And that's because these other styles are taking precedence over it. Okay, so what we want to do, and this is why we always include our custom class. Okay, and when we do, add our custom class, we don't have to do any wonky stuff to make this work. Because you'll see if we didn't add our custom class, and let's just go ahead and get rid of this. If we didn't add that, you'll see our background color is blocked out, and that's again because of this down here. And what you could do is, if you run into that, you could press and you could type in important with an exclamation mark at the beginning, and what that does is says override any other CSS and make sure that this is taking place. Okay, but to avoid needing this kind of stuff, we just want to include our custom class here to make sure everything gets inputted. Okay, so what we've done to this button is we've given it a background color. We've changed the font weight to 700, and this makes sure it's a little bit thicker. You could change this value how you see fit. The font size we've made bigger with 22 pixels, and we've given the button a little border radius of 3 pixels, and that kind of rounds it out, makes it a little softer, you see. So same thing, we're gonna come in here and we're gonna copy all this, paste it into our CSS. When you are copying and pasting things, you gotta make sure that it's not pasting in extra junk and jargon that you accidentally copy. Come back over here to our preview page and refresh this, and you'll see our new button styles have taken place. Now the second thing I'm going to style is on this button is this hover effect. So you could come over here and let's inspect this element. And the neat thing about these is you could come over here and select this little box that says hover. And now whatever styles you put in here are going to be attributed to the hover effect. Pretty cool, huh? We're going to take some styles that I have here. We're going to come over here and just paste them in. And what we did was, so we're targeting our button again, okay, with the same thing here. But what we are including is this :hover. And these styles will only target the button when it's on hover. Okay, so we've changed the background color, and I've changed the color of the text while it's being hovered. So I'm going to press publish, come back, refresh, and you'll see that our styles have taken effect. Let's get rid of this underline, shall we? What we'll do is come over here to our hover styles. We're going to go to a new line, do text decoration, and we're going to select none. Publish this, refresh our form, come over here, and you'll see that it no longer does the other underline when we hover. Okay, so far so good. The form's looking pretty good. Okay, so the second thing I want to change is that when you go through this form and you haven't met a requirement, it shows up these messages, and you know, they're just a little bold for me and my website and the colors that I have going on. So we could come over here, let's hover on this one here, and we're gonna inspect it. Come over here and we'll find our field element. We could toggle this open and find something like this. And this is some code that says after. And if we come over here and find it over here, you can see the styles right here, some of the styles taking place. If we press plus, it gives us a new field. So to target that, we are going to come over here, take that CSS class that we found, and it is contact styled, NF error, and field wrap. So this is kind of complicated. That's why I'm putting it in here for you. And then here's the after that we were looking for. Here's our background color that we're going to change it to. We'll publish it, come over here and refresh our form, click through, and now you'll see that it's a different red, not as bold, not as harsh in the eye, and it matches the styles that I'm going for with my form. Let's change this guy now to new line. I'm going to paste in my code. You'll see the code is our styles, the NF error, and the NF error message. And you can see that right here. Let's click on this element, inspect it. And again, we are targeting this NF error message, NF error, required error. We're targeting this message right here, okay? So let's press publish. Let's come back over here, refresh our page. Click, click, and it's hard to tell, but this is now the same color as this. next I'm going to create just a little bit. I think this needs a little bit of space in between this and this message and this label here. So new line and paste. So it's going to target my form fields that are required, and it's going to give it a margin bottom of 10 pixels. Come over here, refresh, and it's small, but man, those little things, those little breathing rooms really help things come along nicely. Next, let's change this little icon here. I like to give myself some space here. And we're going to paste this in, and we're going to see our error message symbol. It's going to have a new color as well. And we could come in here, refresh, and it's small, it's a little change, but it's all now has the same colors, okay? Okay, now let's say we filled this out correctly with something like my name, and you'll see it gives us a little check mark. But what if we wanted to change this little icon and the color in the background? Let's do that. Okay, so I've come over here. We could take this element, click on it, and inspect it, and find everything that we need to know about it. We could find the class for the field element. We could find the input and the classes given to the input, okay? And we could also come over here and find out the classes as well. So I've come and I've copied my classes that I need and my after, because as you can see, this is a label, once again, that is placed after this element. All right, so I've given the font a new color, the background a new color, and I've also changed the content of the icon. Okay, if we come over here and refresh our form preview, and you know, when we type something in here that is required, it doesn't do anything, okay? If we skip a field and it gives us this warning and we come in here and correct it, you'll see that we have our new icon here. And what this is a Font Awesome icon. You could go to Font Awesome icons and use these as well. So these have been included with the Ninja Forms plugin. So you could go to fontawesome.com, find an icon that suits your needs, and change it here if you'd like. Just makes it a little bit more custom. All right, and so then the last thing we wanted to do was change this harsh black around here. And so what we're gonna do, I'm gonna do something a little bit different. What I'm gonna do here is come to the top of my contact form CSS, and I'm gonna put this guy up here on its own. And instead of including our contact styled class in front of it, I'm just gonna leave it as is, so that this is gonna target all forms on my website. So I'm gonna publish this, refresh our form, and you'll see it's changed the color of the background, okay? The reason why I wanted to do that is that I wanted to show you that if we come to our contact page where we have all our forms, except for the one that we are working on, you'll see that the styles that we have been working on aren't included in all these forms. But what has changed is the color of this background icon, okay? And the reason is, if you don't include this custom class like we have every single time, it will change the styles for all your forms on your website. So this is one reason why you want a custom class. And if you want to change all the forms on your website, this is why you don't need a custom class. Okay, so before we leave, what we always want to do is provide notes on the CSS and what we are doing, okay? So I'm gonna type in something like custom styles for all forms, okay? And what you could do is you could come over here, you could highlight that and press Command forward, and it puts these little brackets. You could type these out as well if you want, but this makes it a note. So these are notes. It has nothing to do with your styles, and it doesn't show up on the back end of your website. And you could create notes for your CSS to remind you what you are doing. Okay, so let's just go ahead and copy this. And I am gonna put this on a line, and I am gonna say end. Okay, because this is the end of all those custom styles. So I want to label this one custom styles for let's say contact form. Okay, select this, command forward bracket or forward slash, and it puts in these. And I want to show where I'm starting my styles, and I want to show where all these styles end. Okay. And let's get rid of this space. We're going to press publish, and you'll see it does nothing to our contact form, and it doesn't even show up in our HTML. Okay. It's only, these are notes for when we want to come back in here and look at our CSS that has become a page and pages and pages long. Now you know what these styles are for, when they start, and when they end. So the last thing we want to do is put our demo form into our Contact Us page to see how it all looked out. Let's go ahead and preview our page, and you can see it's right here, Contact Me styled demo with everything in it. If I put my name, it should go through just fine. If I forget to do my last name, our styles come in. If I put in my last name, you will see that the thumbs up is given. If we hover, our button works, and you'll see that our classes have not been transferred to these other forms. Okay, the only thing that has been transferred to these other forms is this little icon here. Okay, remember, we didn't use our custom CSS class for the icon, and we used it for everything else. I'm going to have all this code on this blog post on my website, so you could copy and paste it and not have to type it all out. If you're new to CSS, I do recommend typing this all out. You will come across all kinds of different options when you start writing things out, and these things will help you learn CSS and help you get comfortable making your own styles. And there you go. I just showed you how to stylize your Ninja Forms using the free Ninja Form Builder and CSS. Ninja Forms does offer a premium version that comes with an awesome visual builder if you need to make even more customizations to your forms and don't know a lot of CSS. This is a great option for you. I'll have a link below with an affiliate link that helps the channel grow if you decide to use it. So don't forget to subscribe to the channel, like the video if you found it helpful, and I'll catch you next one. Aloha.